Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior. Jason Yun back with you again. Welcome to Improvement Warrior Podcast, episode number 19. This podcast is going to be going over something that happened to me right before spring break, and we'll get into it in a little bit, but I will tell you it has something to do with the things that is on my face, on my eyes right now, my blue blocking glasses. Very interesting stuff, and got a lot to say about it, but what's happening now, so it's the end of April, and in Ohio we finally hit a good spell, about 4 days, so I've got over 20,000 IU vitamin D outside the last 4 days, but we are supposed to have another cold spell coming up here this week. So I've been working on my tan, all that stuff, and books I've been reading. I just finished The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. So it's a great book. Highly recommend it. It's all about fear and basically conquering your fear, and how really if you're not a 50 Cent fan, this book will probably make you a fan, even if you don't like his music or whatever. I mean, you don't need to like his music to understand the mindset and the drive and all that stuff that he has, and where he came from as a hustler and getting shot in the face 9 times and surviving and all that. Because I think it's, once we face death like I did, with my depression and anxiety and thoughts of suicide, and then you come back from that, life is a little bit different for you and a lot more meaningful, and things just change. Okay, it's just different. So a lot of people are just living their life in the comfort zone, and they never actually stretch themselves to, or push themselves into an area where it's actually going to be actually going to be dangerous for them. So highly recommend that book, 50th Law. Robert Greene also wrote the 48 Laws of Power, which I do recommend. I'll hook that up as well. I've got both of them on Audible. So great books. And the physical book I'm reading is still the Battle Hymn, and getting good now. I'm getting into 9/11, all the stuff that they've just been planning and doing, all that stuff. So that is one I highly recommend, especially if give it as a gift for somebody who is just completely asleep and completely immune to the fact that these secret societies rule our lives, basically. But what else is happening? Not much. Son is starting baseball and all that stuff, but don't want to bore you with that. Let's get into this podcast and let's crush it. So what happened? I was basically fired for blue blocking glasses. So fired for blue blocking glasses, pretty much. Well, I mean, I wasn't actually, we'll get into it. So a couple weeks ago, or this was right before spring break. I had my interview, and it was my first week working there. So I was hired as a part-time strength coach, personal trainer. And basically when he called me up, it was basically like it sounded like I was already hired. He told me to basically come into the physical interview with my schedule in mind, which I did. And so he basically hired me right there during that first interview. And he wanted me to be a trainer of the trainers, and wanted my online training portion of the training to start before I actually left for spring break. So, and one of the interviewers who interviewed me, there was 2 interviewers, she said that my interview was the first interview she actually learned something. So I think I talked about electrons and grounding and whatnot. But I did 1 full day of training, and then the next day I had basically a 3-hour lunch with the franchise owner, the guy who hired me, and we talked about all different types of things, from circadian biology to light to yoga to fitness, nutrition, to our kids, and just a whole bunch of other things in between. And I went to my next scheduled day when I got back from spring break, and then that I was let go early because they didn't really have anything for me to do. And the next day I got a call letting me know that they had decided to go a different direction. So it's the same speech I gave to a couple of my coaches before at my own fitness studio. But during our lunch, he told me he would be having a talk with the corporate, with corporate people about my blue blocking glasses and my attire. He actually had problems with my shoes as well. He said he would actually he would provide me with a uniform and a pair of tennis shoes, which I denied, and I asked him what was wrong with mine. So I used those. Bellops is what I had, and then I also bought a new pair, basically another aqua fitness type shoe, basically just a black shoe. So, but he was going to talk to corporate about my blue blocking glasses, and he thought they were sunglasses because he brought me in saying and said there's no sunglasses allowed, and I told him that's when I basically went into the spiel on blue blocking glasses, and I told him if I'm indoors under bad lights, and I used bad lights. Normally I would say under these shitty lights, but obviously this was the place where I was supposed to work, but I had to clean up my act for a little bit. So I told him if I'm indoors under bad lights, I will have these on all the time. And basically my first day of training, I went into probably an hour 15-minute seminar presentation on blue light and circadian biology. So I was let go or fired for blue blocking glasses from a place, from an industry that touts that they say they are all about improving people's health. I say it all the time, and you probably heard me say it many times before on this podcast, videos, blog posts, social posts, all that stuff. Your light environment is more important than the food you eat or the exercise you do. The fitness industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry and business every year. So they are not ready to let go of their paradigm, nor is the nutrition industry, that they say diet and exercise is the best way to get you and keep you healthy. Every year, there are hundreds of books published for the latest diet and exercise program. Yet the people keep getting sicker and fatter and more diseased every single year, especially here in America and all the other industrialized countries, Australia, the UK, okay, all that. And the diseases of aging are being brought down younger and younger and younger, okay? So dementia is, I saw an ad for dementia in children. That shouldn't happen. That's ridiculous, okay? Now, I know hearing for the first time, hearing that light is more important than your fitness, than your workouts, that's a major shocker. It was for me, and most people, they hold on to their beliefs with all of their might. Okay? But myself, I had been proven wrong before in terms of nutrition with that standard American diet that I was following, and then that led to paleo, led to keto, led to low carb, high fat, led to now circadian nutrition. And I think it's a lot easier to change or at least examine something when you have already made a big change in your life. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, most people will not stretch themselves. Okay. And with their programming, if you hit them with something that's going against their programming, they don't want that. They don't like that. Okay. That makes them uncomfortable. That makes them have to think, okay, or attempt to think. I know I forget who says it, but most people don't do thinking. They just rearrange their beliefs and paradigms and call that thinking. It's not thinking, okay? But it's a lot easier to make a change when you've already made a big change in your life. When you believed something was this way and it turned out it was completely opposite, or it was 90 degrees or 70 degrees to the left or to the right. Okay. And when I got hit with the light thing, that was the biggest for me. So the nutrition jump wasn't that really hard. I mean, obviously you just have to try it and do it and change your diet for 7, 10, 14 days, and you can obviously feel a difference. Okay. But the light thing was, I mean, it sounded like insanity to me the first time I heard it. Okay. And that's why it took me so long to actually change and adapt these strategies and stuff. Okay. And also it will depend a lot on the person's ego. Now, when I was in my 20s in college and early 20s, mid 20s, all that, back when I was 225 pounds, anxious, depressed, all that stuff, I thought basically the only way you can work out is bodybuilding style. And I probably would have punched you in the face if you would have told me one day I would be doing yoga and loving it. For real, I would have punched you in the face. So my ego has shrunk quite a bit in the decades that followed. And mostly in the past 3.5 years, it's really shrunk. Since being introduced or reintroduced to Dr. Jack Kruse, in large part due to the sunlight, grounding, cold exposure, blue light avoidance, meditation, yoga, breathing practices, and I mean, yeah, all the stuff, cold thermogenesis, all the stuff I talked about. And by the way, all those things are about either raising or maintaining your dopamine levels. So I'm still working on the dopamine webinar. It will be out very soon. I'm almost done with it. So you can only control 2 things in your life. And that is, number 1 is your breath, and number 2 is your thoughts. Okay? Unless, of course, you're being waterboarded. You can't control your breath, and it's hard to control your thoughts during that process. But hopefully that's not you. So I'll hook up the breath webinar as well. You can check that out. And also Mind Tamer. If you're having problems with mental performance, mental training and all that stuff, Mind Tamer, my go-to program for that, which helped me bring myself out of the suicide, the depression, the anxiety, all that stuff. Now I say reintroduced to Dr. Kruse because I had originally found him back in 2014, read his book, but I didn't adapt his principles because my dogma and my belief in a fitness nutrition paradigm and supplemental paradigm was basically too big to overcome. And a lot of people will throw Dr. Kruse under the bus very quickly, saying he's too extreme, he's a quack, the protocols are too hard, it's a cult, and yada, yada, yada. His teachings, his principles are primarily based off of Einstein's photoelectric effect, Einstein's laws of relativity and special relativity, the laws of thermodynamics, the 3 laws of nature, light, water, magnetism, and quantum electrodynamic theory, QED. QED is the science that has been proven to be the most accurate science of them all. Okay? And I mean, being healthy is kind of a cult because there really are so few people who truly are. And there's a lot more who probably think they are. I was one of them who thought I was healthy, but obviously I found out I'm not. Okay. And that's basically what I want for people to understand. I want them to understand what it's like to feel healthy, to feel energy, to feel like you don't need a nap, like you don't need coffee every single morning. Okay, that's not healthy if you need coffee to move you through the day, or you need energy drinks to move you through the day, or you need to eat carbohydrates at a season to recapitulate ATP to basically give you a false energy boost so you can make it through your day. Okay? So I say it all the time, and I will continue to say it. Pre-Dr. Cruz stuff, September 2018, I would have told you my health was a 10 and no less than a 9.8 on most days, unless I was actually sick. Compared to how I actually feel, now I know back then it was probably just a 5 to a 6.5. Okay, and of course back then I thought I was super, super healthy. I thought I was like the top 95, 99% people. Just lies, lies, lies. I was lying to myself, and that's one thing we cannot do. So we all lie to ourselves on some level, but to accept an idea into our life and do it and take the action on it and actually see and feel that difference it makes in our life is truly one of the hardest things to do. Because if you do feel better from doing whatever you're going to do, you then have to admit that that part of your life was wrong, or it was a lie. There was a better way, and I chose to not do it, or I chose to ignore it because my ego got in the way. My programming got in the way. My dogma got in the way. My beliefs got in the way. My cognitive dissonance got in the fucking way. Okay? Not the way to live at all, but it's the way we're programmed to do things. Okay? Our brain was hijacked from a very early age, and it takes a jump to get out of that. So, earlier this week, I saw a fellow mitochondriac tweet something out, and someone responded that during their entire adult life, they have not been able to sleep throughout the night. But just 2 weeks of seeing the sunrise and the AM sun for 30 minutes, now they can. Okay. Hint, melatonin is made in the AM sunlight, and it comes out at night. So if you don't make it, then you don't sleep. I'll post this picture in the show notes, but basically I posted a picture in Dr. Cruz's forum when I just started. It's a picture of my Hilliard studio, and basically it's got the fluorescent blue lights. I mean, if you've been into an office building or you've been into a grocery store, same lighting deal. Okay, just bright blue lights overhead. Jack responded, and his response was basically the biggest wake-up call of my life. If he would have lied to me, or he would have ignored my post, then I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I probably wouldn't feel the way I'm feeling and all that stuff. So it was just huge kick in the balls. He said, "Jason, this might offend you, but I am going to tell you the truth. I never go to this place. You need to reflect on this. If you want to help, you cannot invite your members to hell." So obviously a giant kick in the nuts for somebody who was deep into the dogma of nutrition, supplements, and working out, and believing that that is what you need to do to be healthy. Okay, but it was obviously one that I needed. Okay, I believe everything happens for a reason. So I was reintroduced to Jack for a reason. I posted that on his forum for a reason, and he responded for a reason. Everything is either being attracted or being repelled by us. Okay, nothing happens happenstance. Okay, so and it's also one giant kick in the balls that the fitness industry needs. Okay, now this post I did was back in December of 2018. I started all this circadian biology stuff September 28th, 2018. I have not worked out under blue light since September of 2018. It was a YMCA for a fitness seminar in Indianapolis. It was a wonderful gym, but blue light, hell. So, I mean, the only way I would actually work out under blue lights today is if I had the chance to work out with Sly Stallone. Right there, Tango and Cash. So, if you're watching the video or listening to audio, I'm wearing a Tango and Cash t-shirt. SlyStalloneShop.com. Use code SLY for 10% off. But if I had a chance to work out with Sly, I would be talking to him about blue lights. Of course, after my initial fanboy phase wore off with him. But by March of 2019, my studio lighting took a dramatic turn, and no longer was I using those overhead fluorescent lights. The only time we would use them is for dodgeball with the kids, because we couldn't see with the other lights. So I had basically a bunch of lights set up in each of the corners, and down the center of the room I had red lights, infrared, Philips infrared light bulbs. So I'll post those lights in the show notes, but back then I was using a yellow bug light. I believe the company was Lohas. And those were LEDs that still had flicker in them. So flicker is also a major problem for sleep and sleep quality. You can usually see flicker in certain lights, especially like those overhead fluorescent lights. Just take a recording on slow-mo with your phone and then play it back, and you can usually see the flicker. So usually these types of lights are like flickering hundreds, thousands, maybe 10,000s of times per second in order to make that light be visible to you. I now use the Cozy Health Amber flicker-free bulbs. And in the show notes, I also made a video taking you through what I did to the studio and how I changed the lights. So I'll post that in the show notes as well. The fitness industry by itself is a billion-dollar industry. Let me grab a drink here real quick. Okay. So fitness industry is a billion-dollar industry by itself. Then you have the weight loss industry inside there and other subsidiaries of that. And so you might even call the fitness industry a trillion-dollar industry because it ties into the cancer industry, diabetes, heart issues, medications, surgeries, over-the-counter drugs, sleep issue problems, skin issues, depression, anxiety, funeral directors, and on and on. So everything is connected. Okay. However, everything, they try to stay separate. Okay. Just like the doctors. So you have a liver problem, you go see a liver specialist. You have a brain problem, you go see a brain specialist. Okay. But if everybody knew everything that they need to know, they can help people better. So,
and now a quick message from one of our sponsors.
I have gotten off so many supplements since finding Dr. Cruz and his work in 2018. It's ridiculous. But one that I still take and recommend is magnesium. The big thing with magnesium is that different types of magnesium are uptaken by different parts of the body and organs. So, there is a variant with people's responses depending on what they need magnesium for and how deficient they are to begin with. Magnesium deficiency is just as big, if not bigger, than vitamin D deficiency. And a big reason why is magnesium is needed for the conversion step in vitamin D. So what they did at BioOptimizers and Magnesium Breakthrough is they combined the top 7 forms of magnesium in one capsule. Magnesium is a down regulator for the nervous system to relax and leave us from that flight or fight world of stress that is especially caused by blue light and electro pollution that we are all affected by, no matter how much we biohack. It is also critical for vasodilation, increased blood flow. Any pain or problems in certain tissues, it's because not enough oxygen is getting there. Remember, all disease and ultimately death is a state of hypoxia, or lack of oxygen. The goal of electron chain transport is to move the electrons through cytochromes and reduce to oxygen. It's also super important for sleep and, again, for vitamin D production. Overall, there are over 300 reactions that magnesium is directly and indirectly responsible for. I used to usually just take one form of magnesium for a month and then switch to another form, but taking this is so much better. You can check it out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/magnesium for a 10% discount off your order. There's also a 100% money-back guarantee. If it is not the best magnesium supplement you have ever taken, return it for a full refund. But I know you're going to love it.
Fitness does not equal health. If you're fit, it doesn't matter if your circadian biology is destroyed. Okay? You may feel better. That's fine. Okay? But eventually you will break down. Okay? Weight loss doesn't equal health. Okay? There is a reason that the Biggest Loser has never had a reunion show, because they both gained the weight back and they're metabolically destroyed. Okay? But, I mean, if somebody is 200 pounds over fat, and that's what it is, over fat, if that offends you, that's a problem. Okay? You need to destroy that fat person and not sugarcoat yourself and destroy the fat. Okay? I destroyed the fat me. He was a fat fuck. And I destroyed him. Okay? Yet, sometimes he talks to me, and I tell him to shut the fuck up. Okay? I mean, I would love to sit around on my ass and do absolutely nothing, but I mean, it's not going to accomplish anything. That doesn't motivate me. It puts me into depression. Okay? And that's what we've got to figure out. We've got to figure out our purpose and why we wake up in the morning and all this stuff. So I put this stuff out there to inspire you to be better and not. If you are fat, you've been lied to about what to do about that fat. Okay, and I'm here to help you, show you the way. Circadian biology is number one for your health. All right, but if a person is, say, 200 pounds over fat and they lose 150 pounds, okay, will that be better for that person? Yes, for the most part. Okay, but in the long run, will it be better? It depends, because if how that person lost that fat, lost that weight, is how the fitness industry teaches people how to lose weight and teaches trainers and coaches how to coach people to lose weight, then they won't be healthy. They'll be healthier, but they will be far from optimal health. And they'll think that just because I feel this much better than when I was 200 pounds over fat, they'll think that that's it. Okay? They won't strive for more. Okay? And if you tell them this may help you get a little healthier, their dogma, their programming will get in the way. Okay? So here's a little secret that most fitness pros and most gyms don't want you to know. You don't need to work out to lose weight. Okay? You don't need to work out to lose weight. I'll say it again. You do not need to work out to lose weight. Okay? And a lot of people shouldn't. Okay? So the two most important reasons to work out, in my opinion, are brain health and bone health. So I say, if after you fix your leptin issue, and then you are not working out, you basically are saying fuck you to the grandma, grandpa you. So my grandma died of dementia-related issues. She had 2 broken hips in the last 3 or 4 years of her life. Okay? I remember one day I tried to go into her house. This was when I first shaved my head. She wouldn't let me in her house. She didn't recognize me. And I even showed her my license. She took it and read it and said, you need to give that back to him. So my other grandma, she's the only grandparent I have living. She has Alzheimer's right now. My one grandpa, he died falling in the shower, and my other grandpa died of heart disease. Okay, so if you're not working out, bone health, brain health. Basically, you're saying, fuck you, me, later on, 20, 30, 40 years later on, if you make it that long. So if you're overweight, then you are leptin resistant. You've heard me talk about leptin before. I'll hook up the webinars in the show notes. You're leptin resistant, you're insulin resistant, you have low vitamin D, you're a bunch of things that have detrimental impact on your health. Okay? So if you follow those normal weight loss advices, you are going to be losing weight at the detriment of the older you. You're going to be burning through hormones. You're burning through stem cells at the detriment of the older you, which is not what we want. Okay, because as we have learned during the past 2 years during this pandemic, people don't change their beliefs or their patterns very easily. Even if you have the facts right in front of them, okay, they will run from them. They will put their head in the sand. Okay? And if you learn to do something one way and you believe it's the only way, then most people will simply continue on with that and just keep building a stronger belief in that programming. Okay? And they'll do everything they can to continue to build that program. Put their head in the sand. Oh, you've got facts here? What's on Netflix today? Okay? They'll keep doing that. Okay? And then if something comes in that goes against that programming, they block it off. Okay? Or they ignore it. Or they basically call you different names. Like they call you a conspiracy theorist or a domestic terrorist or an idiot. Or just they come up with whatever names is in their head. Okay? Usually when somebody calls you a name, okay, there's something in them that they see or they are calling out, so to speak. That's what I've heard. But however, nobody cannot unhear something. So if I say something, you hear it, you cannot unhear that. Okay? Now you can do whatever you want with it, but that's why I continue to always keep planting seeds. Okay? Seeds of circadian biology, seeds of light environment, seeds of cold thermogenesis, seeds of DHA, seeds of veganism is shit, seeds of electro pollution, seeds of secret societies, seeds of the jettiscenes are poison and not for your protection at all. And I will continue to plant these seeds everywhere because they will sometimes grow into a beautiful flower or a vegetable or an herb. Okay? So fitness and circadian biology need to coexist. And one of the easiest things to do is just change your lights. Okay? But this place, the exercise coach, they didn't even need to have these lights on because there was probably from left to the right of the room, there was probably 15 feet of window going from the ceiling to the floor. So it's basically, you've got all this natural light. You do not need these shitty lights on at all. Okay? Now, the windows could not be open, which is another problem. Always open a window, let the sun in, let nature in. Okay? Remember, sunlight is linear in action. So it just takes a small amplitude of sunlight to give you a massive amplification in your cells, in your mitochondria, and all that stuff. So circadian biology and every health industry, we need to coexist, because we simply would not be here if we did not follow circadian biology. So if our ancestors didn't follow circadian biology won the Nobel Prize in 2017, but it's been acting on planet Earth for billions of years. Okay? And more than likely, it's been acting on the galaxy and all the other galaxies for even more billions and billions of years. Okay, so progressions that we have made in the last 100 years, 150 years, a lot of them are just destroying us. And we are in the sixth extinction event right now. And fertility is an issue. I'll hook up my fertility podcast as well. But yeah, just because you can give birth, that doesn't mean it's a good thing. Especially if the child is coming from an unhealthy dad and an unhealthy mom, because they're going to raise that child in an unhealthy environment. And when the child is born unhealthy, with a higher heteroplasmy rate, already sucky mitochondria, and then programmed with shitty beliefs of its parents, and living those every day to destroy dopamine, DHA, melatonin, cortisol, hormones, and on and on and on, we are headed towards a place where giving birth is going to be a rarity. Okay? Just like somebody who is a normal weight and somebody who is not fat. Okay? So we must adopt my daughter just came in and brought me a pair of broken blue blockers, snapped in half. Very good, Spencer. Okay. All right, where was I? So, sorry, we have to adapt the attitude that we must do things around the sun and around the nature and around our circadian biology, around our circadian rhythm. Okay? I listened to another podcast of a guy who basically was in prison, and then he built up his life again. Well, he was a criminal before, and he made millions of dollars being a criminal. Now he went to jail and came out, and he built up his life making millions of more dollars, but doing it legally this time. But he was waking up at 2:45 a.m. every morning. Okay? And that is absolute shit for your circadian rhythm. And I have it in the plans to make a podcast about that. What? Speak. They're somewhere over there. Here's this pair. Okay. So, yeah, I have plans. I'm going to make a podcast on that because there was another guy who basically died last year at 43 who was doing basically the same thing.
Blocking blue light is one of the most critical things we need to do in our modern world if you want to either remain healthy, reverse a disease, or become the optimal version of yourself. There are a lot of companies out there that are now making it more stylish than ever to join the ranks of biohackers across the world. Oh, and blue blockers are absolutely essential for keeping your dopamine levels up and exiting the matrix. I have personally been using Midwestern Light Therapy as my go-to errand and grocery store, as well as my after sunrise glasses. Check them out as well as the others I have used and recommend at improvementwarriorfitness.com/blueblockers. For Midwestern Light Therapy, use code IMPROVEMENTWARRIOR10 for 10% off, and you can also pick out blue light-free light bulbs as well as red light therapy devices. Remember, your light environment is more important for your health than the food you eat or the exercise that you do.
So we must have an attitude of working around our circadian rhythm. We must prioritize our health. Okay? If meetings are going to be held, and can we have them outdoors? Can we turn off the lights? Okay? There's no lights here. It's 7:51. All right. Sunset is 8:20. Okay. No lights. You don't need them. Okay. Can we schedule 50-minute work blocks followed by 10 minutes of sunshine and grounding, or a 25-5 schedule? Okay. Can we eat outside? What if it's cold? What if it's raining? Can we put up an awning for our employees? Can we use those outdoor heaters that some restaurants use? Always look for the solution. Never the problem, never your programming. There's always a solution. Okay? But your current thinking will not get you out of it. So there's always something we can do to make our workplace healthier, to make our gyms healthier. Continuing to do it because that's what we have always done is fucking stupid. I remember when I used to work for Discover Card, I would drive in, my windows would be up, usually, and I wouldn't leave until the shift was over. And I worked second shift, so 3 p.m. to midnight. Then I would usually go to Lifetime Fitness, 24/7 gym, and I would work out to about 1:30, 2 a.m. Then I would drive home, and then I would eat. So I would get done eating like 2 to 3:30 a.m. every day. And then the next day I'd do it again. I would sleep till 11, sleep till 12, sometimes 2:30, then go to work. And then continue to do that, and continue to do that, and continue to think that I am healthy because I'm eating right. I was eating the standard American diet back then, and working out. Okay. But when I got into fitness, I wanted to make people healthier. And little did I know I was hurting them, or at least I was giving them diminished returns, or I was just completely fucking them up. It all depends on your context, and it all depends on where you're starting. Okay? Not everybody should be working out. Leptin resistant, you shouldn't be working out. You have a circadian problem. That circadian problem should be fixed. Otherwise, you start working out, you start doing like boot camp, HIIT training. That's the worst for someone with leptin resistance. You start doing that, it's going to be harder to fix the circadian rhythm. Okay? So it always starts with just one person asking questions, different questions than the norm. Why is it done this way? Why can't we do it that way, or this way, or that way, or this way? So for an industry that says it's all about health, and its sister in arms nutrition and the supplement industry that also tote about being all about restoring your health, I don't see it anymore. After being a mitochondriac for 3.5 years, 3.5 years plus now, I know it's not the case. People are getting fatter, people are getting sicker faster. Now, yes, fitness and nutrition can help delay that, but it only delays it. It is like putting a giant Band-Aid on with fitness and nutrition, but eventually that wound is going to be too big for the Band-Aid, and then the blood, the guts, and whatever is going to start gushing out. And then that person who's been healthy in air quotes, their entire life, they're going to be wondering, what is going on? I take care of myself. Okay, then they're going to blame it on getting older, and blame it on whatever. They're going to go to the doctor, do all these tests, and it's basically just, you didn't mind your circadian rhythm. You didn't mind your circadian biology. Okay? Now, the gush of the blood, the gush of whatever is coming out of that Band-Aid is not caused by sloth or gluttony. The big movers for disease, especially in the last 20 years, is the non-native EMF, the electropollution, and the blue light, which is non-native EMF. Okay? Blue light tech devices with extreme radiation emitting from them, for some people, they're on their body or their head or their scrotum or their vagina 24/7. And I remember this story always stuck with me. I heard a story about Navy members back in the World War times coming offshore from the submarines to go out, find their women, do their women, all that stuff. They were using the radiators in their room to irradiate their balls so not to impregnate the woman. Okay? And from what I hear, it worked pretty well. And last time I checked, fertility was not an issue in the 1910s and the 1940s, but it is now, big time. If you are a trainer or fitness program and all they are talking, if you're working with one, and all they're talking about is the workouts, the diet, and maybe sleep, and maybe water, okay, if they're a little bit more advanced, okay, then we have a giant half-truth, which means there is some lies in there. Now, most trainers obviously do not know the other half. I certainly didn't. And however, it's the trainers that are going to push it off or completely ignore it because of their training or their dogmatic beliefs that we must move away from. Okay? So I'm sure a lot of them, they simply don't want to learn something entirely new, especially if it means you have to admit that you have been telling your clients lies. Okay? And they are lies. It's okay that you didn't know it. We have been lied to our entire life. Just think how many corporations would go out of business or would never have been in business if we would have just been told the fucking truth about the goddamn sun. Just think about that. Okay? I certainly was that way. Like I said, I originally found Dr. Cruz in 2014, read his book, The Epi-Paleo Diet, which everyone should read. I'll hook it up in the show notes and start implementing. I started implementing some of those ideas. But eventually I went back to my training, back to my beliefs, because I had supplements to sell. I had training to sell you. I had nutrition challenges to sell you. I tried the face dunking. That lasted like 3 times because it sucked. Okay? I was an indoor zoo animal. Okay? Not as much indoor zoo animal as most people, but I hated the cold. Cold especially sucks for an indoor zoo animal, okay? Because your mitochondria is blown. Okay? That's your hydrogen heat engine. Okay? If it doesn't work, you're not going to heat up in the cold. I mean, I still don't like the cold, but I do it because I feel and perform so much better when I do it. I sleep so much better. I recover so much better. I have energy throughout the day so much better. And I can tolerate it much, much better. I mean, 3.5 years of doing ice baths will change you in so many ways. And probably the most important is your fucking mind. Because if you don't change that, then nothing's going to happen, especially long term. That's why I stopped doing what I read in the Epi-Paleo diet book, and I went back to what I knew, what I was programmed with. Let me get a drink here. Change is hard. Change is hard. But we always have to be open to it, and we start implementing small. Because if we don't, then those diseases of aging will set in and they'll take us out. And they are setting in younger and younger because of the non-native EMF and the blue light being brought right up against our faces and our private parts. And we have stupid parents giving kids phones iPads for babysitters, giving them their own phones, AirPods, Apple Watches when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Not wise. Okay? I remember the owner of the exercise coach asked me a question because some of the other employees there expressed concern about what if Jason starts talking to the clients about circadian biology or lights or taping your mouth shut, which I gladly shared with one of the other employees that I tape my mouth. Okay? And I think you should do it too. And I think you should do it too. I think everybody should do it. Okay? I advise them I usually only talk about that stuff if asked directly, or they are telling me something and I know exactly what can help with that. Now, I really bit my lip hard when I was with the owner and he was talking to another client. She was a lady probably in her 50s or 60s, saying she felt great before, but then she went away for a week or two to New York City and she hasn't felt the same since. I literally clenched my teeth and just basically breathed. Because what I wanted to say is, there's your problem. New York City is an absolute shithole for EMF, blue light, and all that stuff. And I'm sure it's even worse now with all the co-pandemic stuff. I mean, I haven't been there since, I think, 2016, 17 for a wedding. I also bit my lip pretty hard when I found out the owner was a vegan and he didn't see anything wrong with having a bagel every single morning. Okay. If you don't see a problem with eating a bagel every morning, why are you listening to the Improvement Warrior podcast? Okay. I'll hook up some links to some great books, Grain Brain, Wheat Belly. Yeah, there's some other ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, that shit will kill you. I mean, every once in a while is okay, but I mean, 30, 40, 50 years of doing that, you're going to have gut issues. It's going to play, I mean, your gut. Some people say is your second brain. Some people say it's the first brain. Some people say it's the thing that created the brain on top of our heads. And if you feed it shit, it's going to turn into shit. Okay? So again, we have to find a happy medium to break into and break the ice and coexist. Okay? One of the first people that I met when I started my fitness business and got into the fitness industry, I was at a conference in New Jersey. It was probably 08, 09. And he had a boot camp. Then he moved to a CrossFit. And now he runs Cozy Health, which you hear me promote a lot for their blue light free, flicker free light bulbs and their red light panel devices, which I use daily. And I use on my kids as well. They're in the other room. They've got a Cozy light on. And they also got a Waken screen on the television that blocks blue light. I'll hook all that stuff up in the show notes. So shout out to Cozy Health. Shout out to Kyle Hara. I believe I'm the one who actually turned him on to Dr. Cruz with all my posts about light and stuff. See, keep planting seeds, keep planting seeds, keep planting seeds. Something will grow. Certain people will sprout into a beautiful garden. Okay, so there are people who are willing and open to do that. But I understand a paycheck or a certain lifestyle can make you completely look the other way. Any doctors in the house? Okay. I'm sure that's the biggest industry where they're turning their heads. I mean, you're either a psychopath or a sociopath if you think that just continuing to prescribe drugs and keep doing that and not talking about lifestyle is okay and is good for them. Okay, psychopaths. However, that's not me. And that's not my blog. That's not my podcast. That's not my videos. I am a truth seeker. I don't care if the truth hurts your fucking feelings or makes you sad or makes you wonder if your whole life is a lie. Or did my mommy or daddy lie to me? Did my teachers lie to me? Did my coaches lie to me? Okay? Knowing the truth is a whole lot better than living a lie. So trust me, I've done it. I've escaped the matrix, and you can too. However, some people will never wake up, and you just have to let them go for now, and you keep planting those seeds. Hopefully, they will get off the fluoride, and little sprouts will start popping up here, popping up there, but continue to plant, continue to sow, and maybe a flower will bud, or maybe just a petal of a flower, or maybe a giant fucking watermelon will come up there. Then the world can become their oyster, which they should be eating to help escape the matrix faster. Okay? Because you cannot escape the matrix, you cannot reach optimal health without proper DHA, which helps form the DC electric current, which helps heal us, which helps expand your exclusion zone, which helps improve your redox, which helps make your mitochondria better. Everything is connected when it comes to circadian biology and our bodies, our brains, our health, our organs, all that stuff. That's all I got for you today. If you have any questions, let me know. We are always looking for reviews wherever you are watching this, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever app you're using, just go in there, give it a rating. Somebody gave me a rating of 1 star and didn't leave a review. So don't be that douchebag, okay? If you think my podcast sucks, tell me why it fucking sucks, okay? But if you think it's good, let me know. Love to read it on the air and all that stuff. And stay tuned for a couple sponsor messages. But if you have questions, if you need help with anything, links are in the show notes. Show notes for this will be improvementwarriorfitness.com/fired. Otherwise, you have a great day. Stay strong, stay positive, be the improvement warrior. I'm going out. See.
Thank you very much for listening to the Improvement Warrior podcast. I really appreciate it. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the podcast and don't forget to give us a rating. If you are on the Spotify website, you can do that at the top of the page. And if you are on the Apple podcast settings, scroll down to the bottom and leave a 5-star review or whatever you think it deserves. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you on the next episode or somewhere. Social media, blog, YouTube, wherever. Don't forget to follow me there, and have a great day. Stay strong, stay positive. Be the improvement warrior.